Welcome back everyone to the 5th round of the Tata Steel Masters. This game that I'm about to show you is played between the US champion Samuel Shankland and Chinese number 1 Ding Liren. Shankland had the white pieces in this game, Ding Liren with black. The opening was a Roy Lopez, and I would like to go through this opening rather quickly and get to the interesting part of the game. So we have a Morphe defense. This has been played many times and also heavily analyzed. So all of this has been seen before. Here Shankland played knight e3, we have bishop back to f8. This is now move 15 for white. The main move in this position is knight to h2, with the idea of bringing the knight to g4. And this knight on e3 can also sometimes come to f5. But here Shankland deviated with the move b4, maybe trying to reduce black's control of the d4 square. So that was taken. Knight c6, a3, defending b4, and here Ding broke in the center with d5. So black should be doing fine in this position. Best for white is probably just to take on d5. And then try to get in some piece development with bishop b3, followed by bishop e2. But here Shankland played knight to g4, allowing Ding to enter into a queenless middle game where black is completely fine without any weaknesses. So Ding took on g4, and then he took on e4. So this has to be taken with the pawn. If you take with the rook, then just knight to d4, followed by taking on f3, and white's structure is just messed up. So here pawn takes, the queens are traded, so it doesn't look like white managed to achieve any advantage here. Ding played a5, taking advantage of the fact that this rook on a1 is unprotected. So maybe best for white was to grab the 7 rank with rook d7, attacking the bishop, so bishop c8, rook c7 attacking the knight, and here take on d4 and play bishop b3. This would lead to further simplification of the position, but maybe this was better than what Shankland played in the game. So in the game, Shankland actually took on a5. But in this line, black's pieces get quite a bit of play. So here Shankland played rook b1, attacking b5, therefore bishop c6 defending, and also stopping the rook from infiltrating on d7. So white's position is already difficult. He has this weakness on a3, and it's difficult for white to try and limit black's piece play. If he plays king f1 trying to bring the king into the center, then black just puts the knight on c4. So in this position, Shankland tried knight d2. So that stops knight c4, but this has the drawback of blocking the rook. So now Ding immediately challenges the d-file, rook e to d8, king f1, knight b7, opening up an attack on the a3 pawn, so rook b3 defending. Bishop d7 from Ding, a very tricky move. So he's trying to bait Shankland into playing the move f3 to defend the pawn. So white should actually play knight f3 here, but this seems counterintuitive going back. So the idea behind knight to f3 is that white is trying to meet black's idea of rook a to c8 with the move knight to e1. But let's just take a look at what happens if black tries to defend e5. So here white should stabilize his position and give up the g4 pawn. So this might still be playable, might still be defendable for white. So let's go back to rook a c8. So knight e1 should be played. Let's take a look at what happens if bishop to b1. This would run into bishop e6, attacking this rook, also the rook on d1. And if rook takes d8, then you have rook takes c1, intermezzo, followed by taking this rook or this rook on d8. So what happens if rook over to d3? So here bishop c4 pins and wins the exchange. So what about bishop to d3? This runs into knight c5, attacking rook and bishop, so rook c3. Then a very nice move, b4, clearing the way for the bishop coming to b5. Here you can take. So taking on d3 isn't possible because then bishop b5 or even just rook takes c1. So let's go back to the game. Shankland actually played f3 in this position, defending the pawn. But now black's piece play becomes overwhelming. Rook a to c8. So bishop b1 from Samuel Shankland. Bishop d3 would run into knight to c5 as we have seen earlier. And b4. This same idea. So what about rook b2? Then black can take on c1. And here bishop e6 again, attacking rook, and also attacking the knight. So if rook a7, you can just take on d2, followed by taking on c2. So bishop b1 from Shankland, and here b4, opening up lines for the bishop. Now bishop a4 is a threat. So Shankland played rook to b2, bishop a4 anyway, rook to e1, and now rook c7, taking advantage of the fact that this poor bishop on c1 is just trapped. Black's threat is now rook d to c8. If white tries knight to b3, trying to free up the bishop, this runs into the simple b takes a3, removing the defender of the knight. So Shankland tried bishop a2. So hoping to play rook to b1. Ding took on a3, and Shankland played rook to b6. So rook to b1 is another square for the rook. Here white has many moves that are winning, but let's take a look at knight to a5. So now black is threatening rook c2 with a fork on the knight and bishop, and the knight on b7 is no longer attacked. So let's say bishop to d5. Rook c2, and now this pawn on a3 is a big problem for white. White's pieces are also tangled up in this position. So black might even contemplate moves like rook takes d5 and try to push this pawn. For example, let's say rook a1. So this is a very interesting line, bishop c5 threatening bishop b5. So white plays g3, give a check. Then you can take on d5, play a2. And white has no defense for this bishop d4, and this rook is simply trapped. So here rook b6 was played by Samuel Shankland, and we have bishop c5. So rook a6 would run into bishop a5 check, picking up the rook. So here rook to b1. And now bishop c2 from Ding. And it was in this position that Samuel Shankland resigned. White is just going to drop the exchange with no source of counterplay. If rook b5, then bishop d3 picks up the rook. And if rook a1, there's bishop d4, or even bishop d3 check. So in the other games, Magnus managed to beat Jordan van Forests, while the rest of the games were drawn. So the players are going to have a rest day before resuming round 6. That is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching and have a great day.